Hi, Guitar Dan. So this is going to be a new type of video. And this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. The video is going to be a little longer because the topic is very, very deep and very, very important. Has been something that's been on my mind since I was 23 years old. And that's the topic of age in the music business. How old is too old? Giant question. What happened to me was the following. I remember the moment in time when I was 23 years old and I was in the kitchen. I was living in Orly Beach, New Jersey in my kitchen. And I said to myself, by the time Eddie Van Halen or Jimmy Page was 23 years old, he was already at this point in his career. Okay. And I started to get anxious at that point, and it followed me around my whole musical career and life like a dark cloud over my head. And only in over years of processing this and dealing with it did I finally come to a conclusion. Okay. Now, I have a little thing that I've carried around with me as well for years, and that's the following: all truths travel through mafia movies. I don't know why. Every time I lived something or I had an experience or something happened to me in my life, I remembered a scene in The Godfather. When I learned something about a particular person I had an encounter or an experience, I thought of A Bronx Tale. I met this person, I said, oh, why are they acting that way? I thought of Goodfellas. All of these mafia movies seem to have incredible nuggets of truth and validity. And one of those most powerful moments came in The Godfather Part 2. And it was about a character named Hyman Roth. And there was a character named Johnny Ola who was, I think, I could be wrong, was talking to Michael Corleone. And Johnny Ola was actually, I think he was also in The Sopranos. He was Junior Soprano. That was Johnny Ola in Godfather 2. And Johnny Ola, and I think about this, and it was so powerful because whoever wrote The Godfather Part 2, wrote the script, emphasized this line so powerfully. He said this. He said, Hyman Roth was successful because he always made money for his partners. He said it so powerfully, so succinctly, almost as if he was trying to tell the audience member, this is something you need to pay attention to. Okay? This is my conclusion about age in the music business. I don't care if you're 17, that might be a little too young because you need more experience. You're 27, 37, 47, 57, 67, or 77. I don't care how old you are. Maybe at 103, or maybe it gets to the point where you no longer can function. I'm sure it's the case. But even then, if you follow that rule, you can succeed in the music business. If you figure out a way to make money for the business, I don't care how old you are. There was a specific moment in time when I was in my early 40s and I was playing a gig at a local shore bar, and I'm sitting there strumming a Beatles song all by myself on solo acoustic guitar, and these girls got up and they started dancing in front of me. They had to be 22 years old. And here I thought to myself for a second, do they care how old I am? Do I care how old they are? The only person that would ever care about age at that moment in time would be the bar manager if they were underage because he could lose his liquor license. The only time that you're worrying about age is when you're sitting home. And this is what I tell people over and over and over again, like a broken record. If you're sitting home, not building a database, being lazy or comfortable or complacent, the little demons are going to work in your brain, and this concept of age is going to become a monster. It's going to become a dragon. They talk about things like this. Now I'm not into psychedelics myself, but many people have talked to Carlos Castaneda, talked about it in his books. When you take psychedelic mushrooms, what happens is you face your demons. Your demons come alive, right? They're only demons in your mind. Now, what could be your demon if you did psychedelic mushrooms? Would it be a fear for your father? Would it be a fear of the government? To other the people, it's immaterial. Think about the addiction of heroin for a second. Could you imagine how horrible it must be to be at the behest of heroin or alcohol addiction? To me, I'm like, just don't go to the bar. I mean, like, I like a couple of beers, but I'm like, I'm not going to the bar today. But this is what happens in the human brain. Things like your age and these things that work in your head. If you're sitting home, not building a database and you're getting comfortable, those things are going to become those demons. And if you just so happen to take psychedelics, those are the demons that you're going to face. These are demons called comfort and complacency. We have all the opportunity in the world to go out every single day and face challenges and meet people and create alliances and have failed alliances and learn from them. What is going to happen from you sitting at home? Now, we do have the internet, and I have made phone calls, but the phone and the internet and Facebook and Instagram, they're only part of the journey. You're probably listening to this up until this point in time because you know on some level that I've been out there. I've been at MTV. I worked at MTV. I worked in the music business. I've been an agent as well, and I performed over 1,500 live performances. Those weren't live performances from my house. They were out there. I got out there. I made calls. I met with people, and I did it. So age in the music business is if you can find a way to make money for the business, you're fine. Now, here's the thing that I think about all the time. Maybe the way you make money for the business is not exactly the same way that you thought you were going to be in the music business. For example, I was asked to speak at in a Zoom conference like last year during the coronavirus, and about 40 kids showed up, and they all had aspirations to be in the music business. And every single one of them were learning about the music business from a classroom. And they said, well, how old is too old? Well, what do I do? How do I go out there? I'm like, well, the first thing you need to do is not be in a classroom. You know, what are you going to learn from a classroom? You're going to learn about the life of this person that lived 100 years ago or 200 or 300 years ago? No, you got to get out there. So the concept of age, from my perspective, is the biggest invisible demon in the world. Maybe you could become an agent, or you could make calls to organizations and individuals, connect the dots, and you won't care how old you are. Sooner or later, somebody's going to say, well, can you fill this role? Maybe you won't be the sexy 23-year-old backup singer. Maybe you could fulfill a role in getting posters done, getting videos done, making calls, and fulfill a role playing a peripheral instrument. Maybe you won't be the front person. But once again, you're not going to be thinking about these things when you're active at the gig, setting your equipment up, making connections in the venue. You're not going to be worried about, well, this isn't exactly and precisely the path that I wanted to pursue, but you're going to be happy nonetheless. You're going to be happy in your activity, in doing something. If you're not happy at that point, then maybe you have a serious entitlement that you need to deal with, you need to talk about. So the concept of age, from my perspective, falls so beautifully under that umbrella of what Johnny Ola said to Michael Corleone in The Godfather Part 2. He made money for the business. If you could start to put your brain on that and start to decipher that puzzle, you're not going to care how old you are.